So if you clicked on this video, you might be wondering, what is a vaccine passport and how is it going to affect the way that I travel? I'm going to answer that question and more in today's video. But before I do, I just want to leave a quick disclaimer that in this video, I'm going to be talking about vaccine passports in relation to international travel and not in relation to day-to-day life. So if you are interested in traveling the world and you're wondering what is up with the vaccine passport, hit that like and subscribe button and let's just jump into it. So first of all, let's just address what is a vaccine passport. A vaccine passport is a free app that is going to allow you to upload the results of your COVID test, your negative COVID tests, if you are not already vaccinated, and also to show proof of vaccination if you have been vaccinated when you are planning a trip and heading into a new country. There are many countries around the world right now who are already working on the rollout of a vaccine passport. Iceland is one of them, Israel is one of them. By the time that this video comes out, the UK might be one of them, and Canada and the US are also in talks of a vaccine passport themselves. So as with anything like this, there are both pros and cons to the vaccine passport that have been expressed, not only by the public, but by the government as well. So in this video, I'm just really quickly gonna go over some of the more prominent pros and cons that have been brought up. Obviously, there are more, and if you wanna leave them in the comments, feel free to do that. Let's start a discussion in a positive and productive way. But I'm going to start with the positives and then move into the negatives. So if you are here for the cons, they are coming. And yeah, let's just jump into some of the reasons why a vaccine passport might be a good idea. So if you are an avid world traveler like myself, you probably already know that the idea of a vaccine passport, or at least the idea of proving vaccination, isn't new. Throughout all of my travels, I have always carried with me proof of vaccination for multiple different things, polio being one of them, yellow fever being another, that are required to get into multiple countries. So although this is new for this specific C word, we all know what we're talking about. The concept itself isn't new. And the problem, or one of the problems with the proof of vaccine paperwork that we do carry when we're traveling currently, is that it is fairly easy to forge. In fact, there are already people around the world who are selling fake or forged proof of vaccination or proof of negative tests for the C word. And so having this electronic document and something that is attached to, you as a person is gonna be a lot more difficult to fake, a lot more difficult to forge, and a lot safer for you and your information. In theory. Another benefit to a vaccine passport is that it's not just going to store that information. So right now when I land in, let's say, Indonesia, I've got my entry requirement paperwork that I have to fill out and my card, and I've got all of my vaccine requirements and everything there. And just like all of that information, if you're staying, you have a visa, you've got all of this easily forged paperwork that you're carrying with you that you can't lose, and if you lose it, it comes at a penalty, so on and so forth. So having a vaccine passport or having an application where you can keep all of your electronic documents is really just going to make things a lot easier, not only when you are entering a country for those documents to be checked and to guarantee that they're secure, but for just like for your own convenience and making sure that you don't lose them, because I cannot tell you how many times I've lost just random pieces of paperwork that I didn't even really know I had to hold on to. That's a story for another day. And then of course, the third pro or the third positive to having a vaccine passport, at least in the short term, is going to be travel sooner with little to no restrictions. And little to no restrictions means little to no quarantine, and little to no quarantine means lower costs. All good things. So now that we have touched on some of the positive aspects of a vaccine passport and rolling out this program, we are of course going to touch on some of the negatives. So the first potential negative is really just the fact that this rollout could, in theory, perpetuate pre-existing inequalities within countries and between countries. So by that, I mean, it's not difficult to imagine, and we're already kind of seeing it with access to vaccines and COVID tests. The idea that people with money and countries with money have the ability to travel and travel freely, whereas people with less access, less money, do not have those rights and freedoms. We have seen it in history, throughout history. We see it with passports and which countries, can travel to where. So the concept is that this could really create a further divide and a long-lasting divide. The second concern is regarding the places that you're traveling to, because obviously there is a concern that travelers who are vaccinated will be traveling to countries where not everyone is vaccinated, and in essence endangering the local population of where they're traveling. So of course there is also going to be a social responsibility aspect to this rollout and to this passport. And I mean, I don't want to be like a negative Nancy. Sorry, Nancy's of the world, but social responsibility didn't really go off so well last year, this year. So trusting in the public to make responsible decisions moving forward, I don't know. What do you think of that? And then of course, the third and most popular argument against these applications is data security, and security of your information. So there are a number of different applications in process right now, and not a ton of like solid information about what each app is doing for security. It has been established that they likely would be more secure than just carrying these papers around in your pocket, but I am going to do my best to leave some more updated information once this video posts in the description down below so that you guys can check that out for yourself and draw your own conclusions. It is kind of like a touchier subject, and I do have my own personal opinions on it. However, I really don't feel comfortable just getting on here and sharing them, because it's just based on my personal opinions and not necessarily public knowledge. And this whole video is just like to give you guys some information and not necessarily to draw my own conclusions. Now I'm just rambling. And B, because it's just a lot to get out. So if you do want a whole video on my perspective on it and whether or not I'm going to be in support of, feel free to let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do it once there's more information available. But yeah, let me know down below and we'll see what we can do for you. What I will say though is that for those of you who are super excited about this rollout, I urge you to just be patient. Obviously, this is going to take time. There are going to be some issues moving forward, so patience will be key. And for those of you who are still skeptical, that's totally fine too. Asking good questions is really the safest and most responsible thing. I will link some of the passes and passports that are in production right now, Common Pass being one of them. Also the Travel Pass, there's a Green Pass, I believe is what it's called, and a few more depending on what country you're in. So I'll leave that information along with travelban.org so that if you are planning travel, you can check to see which countries are currently open for you, what the restrictions are, and if you have more questions on traveling in 2021 into 2022, feel free to check out my last video, planning travel in try that again. Be sure to check out my last video, travel planning in 2021, for more information. And until I see you in my next video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Stay great, travel safe, and I will see you then. Bye guys.